All right, welcome back. Thank you, Mackenzie, for joining us today. We're going to talk about another occupational injustice project that got done in a third semester advocacy and leadership class. So, Mackenzie, thank you for joining us. Mackenzie is an OTD student. Why don't you introduce yourself? Kind of where are you thinking you might end up wanting to practice? Um, Maybe what brought you to OT?
So my name's Mackenzie Grass. I'm a third semester OT student. I'll be graduating in December, in Saturday with my bachelor's degree. And then I'll graduate in spring of 2027 with my doctorate degree. And the area I'm thinking of maybe practicing is either school-based OT or like school-based OT or pediatric outpatient OT or like something with my capstone with hippotherapy and equine assisted therapy. And I got into the field of OT because I took a CNA class in high school and I realized I did not want to do nursing. So I was like, okay, nursing is not for me. So I was like, let's find something else. And my grandma's actually an OT down in Florida. So she's like, come shadow with me for a day. And I was like, okay. So I went and shadowed with her and got to see the different, she had her own business. And then she also worked in private schools down there. And then she also did the hippotherapy side. And I was like, oh, this is like so me because you can do so many different things.
Yes.
You don't have to sit in a room all day and just like see the same patients. Like you can go to schools and you can do everything. So I was like, yep, this is where I want to be.
Awesome. Awesome. I did not know that about you. How cool.
Hmm.
Very cool. All right. So you just finished up your third semester in the OT program. Like you mentioned, you take a course called Community Advocacy and Leadership. In that class, you explore an occupational injustice. Those are generally you find something from like current events, I think.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your topic and what inspired you, or how did you get interested in that?
Okay, so my topic has nothing to do with my capstone on
That's okay.
hippotherapy because I was like, I didn't realize this was going to be an ongoing project. I thought it was just like one thing, but now that it's an ongoing project, I learned a lot more about my topic, which was children and youth survivors and violence in schools.
Mhm.
So my topic is for like based upon the Minnesota Catholic school shooting that just happened a few months ago. And
Yeah.
I chose that topic because I went to Catholic grade school and middle school. So like going to church was a once a week thing for like my school. And we were always like, oh, that was a little fun like break so we didn't have to do class. And that was never like on my mind like, oh, going to church could be scary for kids now
Yeah.
or even going to school after like that shooting. So I was like, this is a really interesting topic to kind of explore more deeply and see how trauma-informed care principles can be applied to these kids who had to sadly like suffer from this.
Yeah. Well, and sadly, becoming so
Hmm.
much more prevalent around the country.
Yeah.
So really interesting. So I think, I mean, we know why this is relevant today because of these events
Hmm.
that are happening. Um, do you did in your work, how did you kind of connect OT to the issue of the trauma related to school shootings?
So at my school, or I guess in parochial schools, you don't really see OTs there or even counselors. But like in public schools, when I transferred to high school, there were OTs, counselors, and like that was just kind of crazy how like public schools have this, but parochial
Hmm.
schools don't. So then I was like kind of looking into it and I was like, well, if these kids at the parochial schools like need a counselor or an OT, that's an outside extended service when they school could maybe hire a counselor or an OT to come and do like these trauma informed like care principles, coping
Hmm.
strategies to just help the families like of those affected and even kids like come back and like want to go to school and because their occupations of play and like social participation were disrupted.
Absolutely. School is supposed to 100% be a safe place for kids. And when that safety is disrupted. That's such a traumatic thing. I frequently, when I hear those stories, think about not only the kids and the families, but the teachers and the staff who are,
Hmm.
responsible for the safety of our kids too. How hard that is. So you mentioned OT. For OT, really, it would be like an extended service. So the schools would potentially need to be reaching out for extra services. Um, if OTs are listening and want to maybe like do something related to this, maybe I know there are some areas even closer to Concordia that have had a similar type of school shooting event, or even
Hmm.
sometimes the threat of a school shooter, even if it's not an active shooter. Um, what can OTs do to help with this? Like what are resources out there? What can we do?
I think you can make like little handouts or brochures with different coping strategies that like families can take into like and do with their kids at home. But also, I feel like we could host like a seminar and just have like anyone who's been affected or even like not affected by like a shooting, but like the threat, like you said, we
Hmm.
could host something just to give them like these resources, like different coping strategies, different like ways they can try and get their child to go back into school and not be nervous or like because like for kids who have like disabilities, it might be a lot harder for them to
Hmm.
go back into the school because they're scared. Like for me in high school, we had a like not an active shooter, but like a shooting threat and it was scary for me and no
Yeah.
one like half our school wasn't there but they're like this will be the safest day like how do you know it will be the safest day like
Yeah.
even if there's that more support
Hmm.
OTs could inform and like give them those coping strategies so if they are having a panic attack throughout the day they can do like different breathing techniques or something like that.
Great. Um, so what kinds of information, part of the project then was to share what you were finding through a social media campaign. What kind of information did you share in your campaign?
So I did the first day was just like an introduction of my topic, and I gave like a really important stat, so I can kind of pull it up. So my stat for the first day was just a true, and then I did a poll with the true or false. So my stat was over 311,000 children have been exposed to gun violence in K through 12 schools since the Columbine High School shooting in 1999. And that was true. And a lot of people put false, which was kind of shocking because like there's been so many school shootings, so you would think like people would, but
Yeah.
it was just it was very eye-opening to see the different like stats when I was
Hmm.
like looking into this for my social media campaign. So then the second day, I just talked about occupational injustice and how this school gun violence and everything is an occupational injustice, and I incorporated another poll, but I got a little bit of responses, but not as much as the first day.
Hmm.
And then the third day, I did different coping strategies that parents, families, teachers, they can use and provided like a extended resource to that. And then the fourth day, I kind of went off with the coping strategies again and asked if like people had any coping strategies that they would use. And that day, since it was a free response, not many people did
You
that.
didn't get a
So
lot. Okay.
yeah, I got like a few, but it was still nice to see the people who like did comment. It was nice to see like their different coping strategies that they have like in place if they're stressed or like worried
Hmm.
about something. And then the last day I just provided different community resources and websites that parents and family members and teachers can go to.
Awesome. Um, yeah, and I
Mhm.
think for anybody watching this, we can link some of those resources in the description. So if they're looking for more information, we can definitely um, provide some of those resources for them. Um, okay, so let's shift
Mhm.
gears a little bit. Have you ever done any type of like advocacy via social media before this class?
No,
No. So what
no.
was the process for you? Like, how did you feel about putting something like this on your personal platform? And um, I guess like what kind of responses did you get from people who knew you, or maybe people who didn't know you?
At first, I was like really nervous to put this out there because like not many people, even in like my cohort, knew that I went to Catholic like school, and they're like, "Oh, you went to Catholic school?" I'm like, "Yeah," and like so I'm just kind of it was like worrying at first, but then once I was like, "Oh, this like actually needs to be made aware of," because my mom's a
Yeah,
teacher, so she thought it was very interesting, and like some of her like teacher friends who follow me on Instagram, like they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is like really helpful. Like I could use this in."
yeah.
Some of my classroom techniques. And I'm like, yeah. So it was interesting to see how different of responses I got between like I got a few men to respond, like my brothers, but like otherwise it was more like the female side,
Sure.
or like teachers, like my mom's friends. So it was just like want to know more and like are interested in this topic.
Hmm.
So it was nice to see like people actually support me even
Yeah,
if it's random and something I wouldn't post every single day.
sure. What was the hardest part about the project for you?
Um, Probably like just the emotional aspect, like how much like I didn't realize that this would have like taken such like a big toll on my like emotional because like this is a sensitive topic. And
Yeah,
it's sad to see how many families, teachers, parents are affected by all these different school shootings. Because I went and watched the Sandy Hook documentary to like take it one step further for my
yeah,
class. And that was just so like sad and just very eye-opening to see how these families like all came together and like supported one another after this tragedy.
yeah. And then I guess the flip side of that, what was the best part of the project for you?
Just to see all the responses and like positive outcomes that I got from people on the days that I got like did the not free response polls, but just like the
Yeah,
open end, like yeah.
like click it.
So that was
Okay.
really, uh-huh, that was really nice to see, just to see like people do support like what I want to advocate for, and like not, I didn't feel like judged for posting this on my social media.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I know this topic didn't really have to do with your capstone project,
Mhm.
but as an OTD student, you've started working on your literature review and started
Mhm.
kind of planning for your capstone. So just give us a little overview of what are you planning to do for your capstone project for the OTD?
So my capstone project is at Cedar Springs Therapeutic Ranch in Slinger, and I'm right now I'm looking in the like advocating and like doing their like promoting their social media a little bit more because they have a
Oh,
social media website, but they don't really post much on it. So like my goal
okay.
is to like make it more well known and like an option that people in like surrounding areas can like go there and do different OT intervention and sessions than normal traditional OT stuff. So I'm either doing that or Dr. Borst actually told me I could also focus on like going out and doing like sponsorships and like like trying to get more donors to like help them promote their business more
Yeah,
because my capstone is a nonprofit. So they really want that donor and sponsorship. And then
yeah,
it's basically all volunteers there besides like two main people that they pay. So it's just a neat experience to see the different areas I can actually help them work with.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Awesome. Um, okay. So this I have two questions left. They can just like not have to do any with anything we've talked about so far. These two questions I ask everybody who I interview. So, first, what area of life or practice do you think OT should have a bigger role in?
Ooh, hmm. Well, I think mental health, but also I think even like pushing more into because like mental health can also be incorporated into the schools, and like everyone thinks mental health is more like focused on like, oh, go see a psychiatrist or like a counselor, when OTs can actually help with that too. And I think
Yeah,
if that's in schools, kids might not want to go see a counselor because they may feel like judged by their friends or something, but they're like, oh, we're going to OT, like that's fun. Like,
yeah,
so yeah, I would say something like that.
love it. And then last question, what current occupation brings you joy?
Hanging out with my friends, my family, traveling, and just like doing activities like pickleball, volleyball, like something like that. I
Yeah,
like it. Yep.
awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations on finishing up your bachelor's degree this weekend.
Thank you.
Um, and we look forward to seeing what the future brings for you. So have a great day. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.